I know it's potentially a shame that I won't get on stage again, but honestly, it just isn't something I want or care enough about to keep pushing the drugs. The tren cough I had 2 days ago literally was enough to be like, okay, f this, I'm done ever taking tren again. What's up guys, Derek, moreplates.com. Today we're going to be talking about Jordan Peters, also known as Trained by JP. This is a pretty well-known bodybuilder in the community where he is a very high quality coach. He is also a freak show bodybuilder essentially. He is a mass monster, all but not genetically blessed enough to become a top, Olympia caliber IFBB pro or anything. He's created a very, very impressive physique and is the definition essentially of hard work beats talent, to as much of a degree as it possibly could. So he started off, just like a normal looking guy and ended up building a true mass monster physique. Like this guy is next level and treats the gym and every single workout like fucking war. Like this guy is so methodically planned out. Everything is meticulous down to the literal like micro weight. Like the guy will literally add micro amounts to his progress every single week to make sure that something is progressing in some capacity, whether it be he could explain it better than I fucking could. But anyways, this guy is like the most regimented dude fucking ever. Lives and breathes bodybuilding, has a very successful online coaching business and whatnot, and is one of the main spokespeople for, I don't know, like he's not like a guru necessarily, but he's like a guy in the trenches who walks the walk, talks the talk, and has like high quality material, and also is like a good bodybuilder. So anyways, the whole reason we're making this video is because over the past, decade, we've seen an increasing number of bodybuilder deaths, which are obviously many of them very premature. Guys literally passing away in their 20s and 30s now because of hormone exposure, high body weights, just the lifestyle in general, high amounts of growth hormone, insulin, etc. Even high amounts of food, dude. Like all this shit is cumulative. So recently there was the passing of Andy Heyman, which Heyman, I'm not sure. A lot of you guys have probably seen him before. If you're, not like you need to be an OG of the fitness industry to know who he is, but he's a bit of an older guy in his 50s, I believe, with a great physique and a guy who notably went out of his way to maintain that huge physique into his 50s and ended up passing recently, unfortunately. Now, obviously, there's going to be speculation about how much did anabolics and the bodybuilding and whatnot play into it. Who fucking cares? The whole point is, I'm not saying who cares as in like it doesn't matter, as in at the end of the day, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. There were a lot of bodybuilders who passed away, more than enough for us to get the point that having a high amount of muscle mass above and beyond what you physiologically need in order to perform, certain tasks and to just look aesthetic, I guess, it's not healthy. Having insane amounts of muscle is not helpful in any capacity whatsoever other than being impressive, mostly to dudes too, not even to girls, So, and yeah, obviously being strong as fuck is cool. Making progress, who wants to go to the gym and make no progress? It's totally understandable why some guys, push the envelope even if they're not trying to go to the Olympia, for example. Like with Jordan Peters, he's like self-admittedly not, aesthetic enough, I guess, in order like structurally, his structure is not conducive to becoming a top pro. So when he like really pushes the envelope and he cranks his face off, this guy is doing it in the goal of eventually getting as far as I know, a pro card. And that's like, the end of the road of what he wanted to accomplish. But it's certainly not to go, full board, try and get like a top 10 Olympia placing or something, because he just did not see himself there. So, he was doing this a lot for himself, just the lifestyle, loving it, and obviously making, progress is something, who the fuck wants to go to the gym and not make progress? It's just an expected outcome that you'd be like, even as a natural, even if you don't want to step on stage necessarily, it can get annoying bench pressing the same fucking total for 5 years straight, Like you would imagine, okay, I want to like actually have some novel stimulus occurring and actually like make this exciting to do. So anyways, for him, he's been pushing the envelope for years and years and years. The guy has gone from, a normal looking guy to a fucking behemoth mass monster. I believe he's only 5'6", and he's gone up to as high as 300 pounds before, which is absolutely insane. And more recently, you know, obviously a lot of deaths have been happening. The Andy Hammond one apparently hit him pretty hard. He made this post. Few people sent this to me. Apparently it's from his forum. So he has like a forum where he like posts his logs and whatnot. He says here, hey guys and girls, this last week or so, Corinne and I have been talking lots just about the direction of things for me, and I have been talking about it more and more of late in regards to wanting to shut down the drug use and see what I can do and how I can look on a TRT dose. I was just going to keep pushing this whole year, but honestly, I'm hating injecting. I'm hating being this body weight. I'm just not feeling good. So, you know, obviously, I would be shocked if anybody felt good at 5'6" at, you know, 280, 290 pounds of like pure fucking steel. I do like how I look, but when you have been this heavy for this long, I can't tell you how much it takes a toll on you. And like I've said, I'm not going to be winning any prize money from competing, and anything I can help share and teach people from my experiences thus far aren't going to change from another year of pushing. Recently, Andy Hammond, I think it's Hammond, passed away, and that's just been the tipping point for me. When I first got really into this, I loved how strong he was, how he looked, and him passing while I have this on my mind is a real eye-opener for me. I have had multiple friends die. One of my absolute closest friends died because of this shit, and then obviously recently, Luke passed too, which although not directly related, is still all intertwined with what we do. So from here, it's time to shut this down, and I will show you guys how you can look on very low doses when the goal is just to look great, feel great, be able to manage your food in a way that if you want to eat meals out with loved ones, you can do that, and it not impact how you look or your goals or maintaining a look you're proud of. I called it the TRT Plus log, as I will no doubt when go on holiday and want to tidy up another 7 to 8 pounds, use a little Primo or Mast or on. I'm not going to even, I'm just saying that in case you guys don't know what this is, by the way, Primobolan or Masteron. I'm not going to even kid myself that I won't. But what I'm certain of is creating a baseline look on 250 mgs of test per week. I will split this into twice a week shots, 4 units of GH per day, split 2 in the morning, 2 at night. No aromatase inhibitor, no insulin, no anything extra until we have a baseline look established, which will probably take a few months, as I will no doubt hold a chunk of strength from the boldenone and trenbolone and anthate for a bit, and it's only going to be after 12 weeks we can see what is what and how much starts to drop off me. I'm going to take my steps daily to 5,000. I'm currently probably doing half of that, but I'm still 270 pounds. So 5,000 steps at 270 is the same equivalent as 10,000 to 12,000 steps when you're 200 pounds. I know it's potentially a shame that I won't get on stage again, but honestly, it just isn't something I want or care enough about to keep pushing the drugs. The tren cough I had 2 days ago literally was enough to be like, okay, fuck this. I'm done ever taking tren again. Which sounds so extreme to some, but when you have taken as much tren as me, you will soon relate. Yeah, so it's like, is there a more kind of like self-defeating, like pathetic compound where it's like, and when I say that, I mean like, you pin the shit knowing that there's a high probability you're going to have a hacking cough for a few minutes and feel like you want to like, you know, fucking curl up in a corner and just like die for a second. Knowing you're going to be pinning that into yourself and you're doing it to gain some muscle while giving yourself a bunch of shitty side effects. You're going to like fuck up your brain, you're going to fuck up your heart, you're going to fuck up your hair, you're going to fuck up a bunch of shit when you take this potentially. But you literally stand in the mirror, you look yourself in the mirror, you jab the shit, you feel the tren cough coming on, you hold the fucking sink, you brace yourself, you work your way through it, you come out, you're sweating, you don't give a shit about anything except you can barely breathe, and you're just like, again, like every other day if you're doing acetate potentially, and you're just like, was it worth it? You like look yourself in the mirror, it's almost like, the only thing I can compare trenbolone acetate cough to is like you just looked at a fucked up like porno, you got off, and then you like have the post nut like shame. You're like, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing to myself? You just look in the mirror, you're like, what the fuck am I doing? I just literally pinned poison in myself, coughed until it felt like I had to like call fucking 911. If you didn't know what was happening, like you would probably think that. And here I am, pinning the shit every other day still. Well, I guess he's on Tren E, so he's not pinning it that much, but anyways, Tren Ace I find far more problematic than Tren E, by the way. So that's interesting that I very infrequently got the cough from Tren E, if ever. So that's interesting because he said here, yeah, he's on trainee. So anyways, besides the point. So this is, so this very much won't affect the goal of getting super lean still, as I enjoy that challenge and structure of diet. It won't change at all how hard I train. And I'm pretty sure I will still be able to do some strong shit even on just TRT. Food-wise, this is where we have been at. I won't change this at all for now. The drug's leaving. I will negate as we go with more movement so I don't get fat in this interim period of working out, exactly where my energy balance will be, what cardio I need, how many steps I will need to maintain the look that I want to hit. And then underneath that, he goes into his diet, which is like about, I don't know, 4,100 to 4,200 calories on training days, 3,500 and 3,600 on rest days. But yeah, anyway, so this is like a legitimate mass monster. I'm trying to find an example of what his physique looks like on stage just to give you guys an idea exactly of what we're talking about here. He doesn't post a lot of physique shots. You know, he's more of one of the cover up with a bunch of baggy shit kind of bodybuilders. Here's a shot here actually. In the posing trunks, yeah, obviously you can see this guy's a fucking truck stick and a half, 275 on the dot, at 5'6". So, you know, I've talked about this before, how I don't think there's anything more mentally taxing potentially than a bodybuilder who spent his entire life, blood, sweat, and tears, amount of drug exposure, amount of food, amount of fucking just everything you've invested in this, building all of this lean tissue, and then have to just strip it off and watch yourself kind of like deteriorate in order to become healthy and not die prematurely. Like, it's a really fucked up position these guys end up in, unfortunately. And like, I feel for them. I'm like, I guess sort of blessed that I stopped blasting however long ago. And like, I got out of it for far more vain reasons. It was hair loss at the time. But again, I'm almost thankful for that now, because it was far more years of exposure before I got to like a health scare potentially that would have been the other red flag that would have, you know, pulled me out of it too. So, and like for somebody like me, going down to TRT is like the most easy thing to do because I don't actually change at all. For guys like this, the amount of change is drastic probably, or at least like very significant to the point that he's going to have to go in the gym and watch things get worse for months on end. And I know that sounds like super pessimistic and, you know, shitty to hear, but it's just, you know, how it is when you're exposing yourself to grams of shit, and you're training a very specific way, you're eating a certain amount of food, you're fucking cranking full board, and then you have to go down to TRT. Yeah, you can maintain a very good physique, but it's just the fact that you're putting yourself in a position where you knowingly over the next few years are going to strip, you know, 20, 30 pounds of muscle off your frame potentially. I can't imagine like being in that situation. You know, it would suck, you know? This is it's almost like where you separate the like mental willpower, like men from the boys when it comes to bodybuilding. It's the guys who can go from retiring at like their peak. You know, a guy like, let's just say Dorian Yates, and he's willing to go from where he was, the literal, what's his movie called? Blood, Sweat, and Blood, Guts, and fucking something. I don't know. Anyway, you know what I mean? He goes from like peak Dorian winning Olympias to being like a yogi, like psychedelics motherfucker who like barely looks like he's, you wouldn't guess he was even a bodybuilder, you know? He looks like a fucking CrossFit guy or something. He looks fine, by the way. Like, he looks good. I'm just saying, like, the disparity between his peak physique and now, night and day. And he's totally fine with it. Whereas there's a lot of guys who, at their peak physique, were not fine with coming down to even halfway through. And they maintained this the entirety of their lives. Or at least they tried to. And they ended up dying at, you know, 35 years old, 40 years old, 45 years old, whatever it is. We're seeing more and more cases of it nowadays. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see, you know, more and more in the upcoming years, because it's now that social media is so prevalent, you know, everyone knows fucking everything, and more stories are getting, you know, released about this kind of stuff. Whereas back in the day, you know, I would assume guys that are lesser known or, you know, whatever, like people just don't even know about it. Whereas now it's more kind of like put out in the open. People are kind of seeing even some of the obscure stories, not as much as they should, but you know, it's, the info is out there more now, and people are kind of realizing that bodybuilding is like the most unhealthy fucking thing ever, and it's not a good sustainable thing to be doing for your life. It's like something you can hopefully get, if you're going to do it, hopefully you can get in and out of it in like, I don't know, a decade and a half, and be like unscathed and get the fuck out and try and like rectify all the shit you damaged to yourself. But yeah, you know, like, again, I'm not saying like bodybuilding is bad, don't do it, whatever. Like, if you have your priorities, by all means, like pursue that shit. And like, obviously, you know, the kind of risks you're putting yourself at in order to pursue it. But again, like these kind of situations are very, very admirable in my opinion, where they openly come out and talk about how they're literally going from full blown crank your face off mode. And there's somebody who's built that much muscle, not just a guy who's cranking their face off and is going to TRT, but a guy who actually has the muscle that needs support from that kind of a stimulus. Not some guy who's taking way more shit than he needs, a guy who actually needs this much shit to grow. And he's dropping it down to like borderline therapeutic, you know? Knowing that he's gonna lose, like this guy's entire life, from what I understand, has revolved around it essentially. So anyways, I think it's a great example of what to do if you are like full board in bodybuilding and this isn't something you're gonna be taking all the way. You know, there are a lot of guys who grind for years to win regional shows, you know, for entry level shows. They're using, you know, fucking a gram of tren, you know, they'll use like tons of shit in order to do not that well, you know, and it's their life. And you just see them getting more and more unhealthy by the year, knowing that they're never actually going to get really anywhere with it. So it makes you wonder, like, you know, are you a dick for telling them, oh, it's like, it's your passion or whatever, so like, you know, crank your face off? Or would you be better off telling them, like, maybe you just gotta, you know, reel it in a bit, you know? So I'm not saying that applies to him, by the way. He actually like built obviously a very, very respectable, massive, you know, mass monster physique. I'm just talking about in general, this can be extrapolated to a lot of guys who are unnecessarily exposing themselves to ridiculous amounts of drugs for no reason, essentially, you know? And I feel like a lot of bodybuilders, if you don't have the potential to like really like win high level shows, like I don't really get the point of, you know, pushing it that hard for, I don't know, for that long, I guess, until you've at least seen what your potential is like. And then from there, make an educated decision about, you know, what actually makes sense for you in the long term. But anyways, again, the mental aspect I felt like was very commendable, and obviously a very, I don't know, something I feel like a lot more bodybuilders should be looking at seriously in the near future, as well as obviously like proactive health management tactics, like things that are totally overlooked in our community about how to prevent cardiac remodeling on cycle, how to even do basic shit like keep your blood pressure in check. And that kind of stuff is you know, still not very popularized. A lot of people still don't understand it very well. And you have guys, you know, cranking with fucking, you know, stage like full-blown hypertensive crisis in some cases, and they're still walking around eating, you know, 5,000 calories, weighing, you know, 270 pounds, whatever it is, getting fucking nosebleeds in the squat rack every day, shit like that. So anyways, unhealthy sport, and it's unfortunate because it's like the body like does not want you to make progress at a certain point. It will literally fucking destroy you in order to prevent you from doing it. So, as well as, you know, the drugs themselves are obviously not good for you. But anyways, it's good. It'll be interesting to see what he does, and perhaps this will be an inspiration to many other bodybuilders to kind of follow in the same path, because this guy's obviously somebody people really look up to. Like the serious guys look up to this guy in terms of what to do and what not to do. So I feel like he's a great example of somebody who's paving the way to a potentially more health conscious strategy or / approach to bodybuilding. So should be interesting to follow, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets along with it, and wish him the best of luck in terms of like the amount of mental fortitude to like go through this transition phase is definitely respectable. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. Check out Trained by JP. You can follow his progress as he you know, transitions from the hardcore saucing your face off to the more reasonable, you know, therapeutic replacement, you know, super physiologic to some extent, and a little bit of dabbling here and there for you know, getting in better condition and whatnot, but like far more reasonable shit that's not going to chop decades off your life, hopefully. So definitely a good health conscious page to follow in the near future. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that one. Like, subscribe, check my blog, moreplacemordates.com. Follow me on Instagram at moreplacemordates, Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below, including my TRT clinic. It's all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home. We have very qualified patient care coordinators and doctors I've vetted myself personally, who represent the highest quality information in this aspect in terms of monitoring your health when it comes to especially even bodybuilders specifically, how to interpret your blood work, how to proactively manage your risk that you're exposed to in this kind of sport. All the recommended lab tests and diagnostics are linked down in the description below as well. And you know, obviously this is something you should be looking at very seriously if you're in this lifestyle, you know, getting proper somewhat regular imaging of your organs, echocardiography, blood work, actually knowing what to order, how to interpret it, that kind of shit. Obviously very, very important stuff if you're going to be exposing yourself to these kind of compounds. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that one. Like, subscribe. I think I said that already. Talk to you guys soon.